Man, get up here in the Zoloft to get your head right.
Hey, what's up, Sinner? Hey, I really appreciate y'all who watched my video on the mystery of who Cain was peeing his pants over. Lord have mercy, don't send me out there. They don't kill me, man. Now, if you haven't seen the video that I'm talking about, I hope you'll go check it out. It'll help this one make a little more sense. But some of those who did watch it, and thanks again for watching, but some of those who did watch it disagree with my theory about who was spooking Cain. In short, my suggestion was that it was the fallen angels who fell with Satan. God marked Cain so that they would not kill him. Just the way God will mark those during the trumpet judgments so the demons will not kill them. Now, here's some of the arguments against the vid I did. Some say that it was Cain's other siblings that was going to go after him seeking revenge. No. If they were seeking vengeance on Cain, that would mean that they would have to know who Cain is. Cain was marked for those who did not know Cain. Now, if God spoke directly to Adam, and spoke directly to Eve, and spoke directly to Cain, then why wouldn't he speak directly to his siblings and simply say, when you see Cain, don't kill him? The mark that was on Cain wasn't for those who would recognize Cain. The mark that was on Cain was for the demons who would recognize the signature of God. In effect, a word from God. Demons trembled at the presence of Christ, who is the word of God. Just throwing that out there. And it ain't like it ain't written that Christ is the word of God and demons get a little nervous when he's around. Now, it's also told that it couldn't have been demons because nowhere in the Bible does it say that demons kill people. Well, y'all, demons can kill people. If they couldn't kill people, God wouldn't have to command them not to. Look here, God marks people in Revelation and tells the demons to not kill them. God ordered Satan to not kill Job. God ordered demons to not kill Cain. The reason why you don't see demons in the Bible killing people is because the Bible makes it very clear that God has commanded them not to. Man can be subject to their influence and even help afflictions. Man gave that power over to them. You know, kind of like how we, the people, give the government the power to influence and screw us. Man chose their influence and God left us to our desires. Now, God gives commandments and warnings to us so we'll know how to live better, but it's still our choice to follow. But if demons had the free reign to kill us at will, they would wipe us out and deprive us of choice altogether. God ultimately doesn't want us deprived of free will, and demons would kill us before we had a chance to decide if we want to follow God. Now, another argument says that Adam and Eve had children in the garden before the fall and before Cain and Abel. Not possible. If Adam and Eve had other children before the fall, then that would mean that they had children who did not inherit the curse of their parents, which would mean that their uncursed children could have been the progenitors of the human race instead. And we would not be in need of salvation by God sending his only begotten son to be born thousands of years later to be tortured and murdered. If Adam and Eve already had uncursed kids in the garden, then that would have saved Jesus a whole lot of trouble. Now, another argument against my vid is that Adam and Eve could have been in the garden thousands of years and had a whole bunch of children. And them kids could have went out into the world, and those are the ones who would have killed Cain. So, children who were supposedly born before the fall in the garden long before Cain, and these children wouldn't have the sin nature of taking vengeance for themselves, by the way, because supposedly they're born before the fall, and these children have grown up and gone way out into the world and are going to care or even be aware that their great whatever nephew has killed his brother. Or maybe they're all going to get a text and says, hey, when you see this guy, kill him. Man, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Also, the reason why this doesn't work is because Adam and Eve weren't in the garden very long. Cain's eventual younger brother was born to Adam and Eve when Adam was 130 years old. Now, admittedly, my math really sucks, but I know that Adam couldn't have been in the garden thousands of years before having Cain if Adam was only 130 years old when he had his younger brother Seth. When Adam was created, time was in effect. The Bible clearly articulates day 1, day 2, day 3, and so on. When Adam came into existence, he became 1 second older, and then 1 minute older, and then 1 day, and 1 week, and 1 year, and so on. Now in the garden, time didn't weather him or cause him decay, but he still had a chronology. And the Bible tells you quite clearly that he wasn't in the garden thousands of years having kids with Eve because he was only 130 years old when Seth was born. Now to the argument that Eve already had to have kids because God said that he would increase her suffering in childbirth. That's your reasoning? So, by your reasoning, you can only warn someone about something only if they've experienced it? That makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. Well, I would warn kids that they should look both ways before crossing the street, but they gotta get hit by a car first before I warn them. I mean, come on, y'all. A person doesn't have to get their arm broken first to know that it would really hurt. So I'm pretty sure that Eve might have had an idea that giving birth may cause some discomfort. But in the garden, that's all childbirth would have been. A minor discomfort. Doesn't that sound like paradise compared to what childbirth is like now? Women aren't born with an absolute knowledge of what childbirth is like, but they got a pretty good idea that it ain't gonna tickle. So the argument that Eve had children before, because if she didn't know what it was like, God wouldn't have had to warn her about increased pain in having children. That doesn't add up. That doesn't even add up in Common Core math. Adam and Eve didn't know what death was like either, but God still warned them of it. What kind of reasoning says that a person has to be experienced at something before being warned about it? The point of warning someone is to prevent them from or prepare them for the respective event. So yeah, God warned Eve. God be like, yeah, you acted like you didn't need me in the garden, but you gonna need me when you're trying to bring forth them kids. That may very well be why after giving birth, Eve said, whoo, I did this with the help of the Lord. And on a side note, the Hebrew word used doesn't even really mean birth as far as I can tell. The word used, I think, is pronounced canal. And it means more to like purchase. That's probably why moms can hold it over their kid's head. Honey, I paid dearly to bring you into this world. Do you know how long I was in labor? Anyway, you also have people insisting that other humans were also on the earth besides Adam and Eve. Well, that defeats the whole purpose of the Genesis story, don't it? Genesis, the story of beginnings. I, God, have created Adam and Eve to progenate the human race. No, God, there's other human beings out there, somebody already beat you to it. And they're the ones who are gonna kill Cain. It's like people who say the earth got water because an asteroid brought it here. Okay, well, how did the ice water get on the asteroid? Are you meaning to tell me that the earth had not well enough conditions on its own to facilitate ice and water? As good of raw conditions as any other asteroid out there? No, the earth isn't in a prime position to facilitate these things. It had to be some asteroid. Or it had to be aliens that started life here. Okay, then what started life on that alien's planet? Lots of people say that they don't believe in the Bible because it's man-made propaganda, yet y'all believe all this other man-made propaganda. But all that aside, y'all, I am so grateful that y'all even look in the Bible to have these questions. Now let's look to God or keep looking to God for the answers. And thanks for having these discussions with me so we can get to know the Lord better. Thanks again for coming to get your refill from the Zoloft. And if you're digging our sessions and want to support, I hope you'll visit my website, AlfonZoRachel.com. You know, so I can keep the supply coming. That doesn't even add up in Common Core math.